So speaking of your other open source projects, like what other things do you maintain? Because you're definitely one of the personalities that like once you notice the avatar and the name, you're like, oh, I've seen that guy on a bunch of issues.
One of my favorite, super tangent before I answer the question itself, one of my favorite interactions in person, I was at a meetup here in Sacramento. And after I had given my talk, someone came up to me and was like, haven't I seen you somewhere? And they were like looking through their phone and they're like, oh yeah. And they like showed me a GitHub issue where I had like made a couple of comments and I was the author of it or something. I'm like, that's me. I didn't think this would happen, but that's me. It's surreal to be recognized that way. Yeah, so I maintain a new project called Houseform, only because I happen to be staring at that on my second monitor. I maintain a project called maintain Chimp now. Maintain Node Vibrant really poorly. I maintain Plop a lot better. I maintain a few odd and end projects, CLI testing library, TSUtil, whatever the name I called it, helpers, TSUtil helpers. But the big one that I maintain is an open source publishing platform called Unicorn Utterances. And it's like, on the surface, it's just a blog, but we've been growing it a lot lately. It's where I'm going to publish my book for free. We have a Discord community with like 1,300 people, which is a decent number. So it's a pretty cool environment to be able to help maintain.
Yeah, let's before we jump into the projects a little bit, what is the purview of Unicorn Utterances? Like what's the goal with that platform?
Yeah. So truthfully, the way that I started it was that I didn't know there were other things like it. And my background is that I had taught at a boot camp, coding boot camp, and I loved the students. The students were amazing. Love the faculty amazing. And then the business was like arguably swindling people, in my opinion. And I was like, that's not cool. Why are we doing that? Like, people are just trying to learn to like, like my family is not super well off, and the money I've made in tech has been transformative to my life, to my family's life. And I wanted to help provide that for other people as well. And I was like, why do I need to be teaching at a boot camp? Why can't I just be teaching out in the open and try to provide resources that'll help people? So I started writing a blog, and it turned into a community, and it turned into what's going to be a massive rewrite here wrapping up soon. And that turned into a book. And, so we have like 30 people that are contributing to the project. A lot of people that are in our Discord chatting daily, and the goal is to help teach people to ideally maybe even have our own boot camp in the near future. So
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. It is interesting that like boot camps or like teaching these very positive for society things like teaching can become somewhat exploitive. It's just like when people like understand, it's like, oh wait, there's this huge demand for this, and then it like turns into like these like puppy mill style coding factories where they're just like pumping out like folks who are barely able to sort of are barely equipped, I guess, to really survive out in the industry. And so it's refreshing to see folks approaching it with more empathy, for sure.
And I think that's the part that really bothered me. It's not necessarily that like, if you're coming out of a boot camp super junior, it's like that's unfortunate, but at least like, so long as there's not a huge expenditure or whatever, like you can keep learning, right? The problem that I had is that this boot camp in particular was telling people, hey, come join our boot camp and we promise you a job. You will have a job in the job market. And I know students that were taking out loans to do these classes and putting their livelihoods on the risk, because what they see is they see a path out from the situations they're in, whether that's financial issues, whether that's, ex-convicts, whether, and these are wonderful people that are wanting to do better for themselves, for their families. And here's this organization that's kind of like, oh yeah, of course we have work lined up for you, except for 90% of you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the unfortunate reality, is that like, there is a challenging environment getting into the industry, and that's not to be taken lightly. And you need to communicate that up front if you're going to be taking people's money to educate them.
So how does the community aspect help with that? So you've got, a blog and content that you've written there. Are you trying to sort of funnel people into like Discord or into places where they can like help, engage with people and like answer questions and stuff? Because a lot of self-learning journeys, the really hard part is like, who do I ask when I get stuck?
Right. Yeah. So we predominantly co-locate on Discord. I try to host office hours, although admittedly, like working on my book, that's been kind of dropping a little bit. I can't guarantee the timeline of this happening, but here's like the broad goal of like what I want to do with my book and what I hope can happen. I would love for my book to like help people learn, of course, on their own, whether they join our Discord or not. But I also want to, and this is like something I haven't really talked about publicly before, so sneak peek. But I want to potentially start like a boot camp of sorts, where like every week we get together and we like walk through one of the chapters of the book. It'll be like a 8 to 12 week program where we just complete the book in one go. And then at the end of it, we want to offer the opportunity, hey, do you want to teach the next cohort? And if you do, we'll add you to our partner program. We'll help promote you as much as we can. We have a LinkedIn that we can help you like, grow and network as well. But the idea is that I would love for us to turn into kind of what that boot camp had going, but in a free, totally volunteer-based manner that was like trying to remove as much of the bad as possible, so to speak. So that's our like big 1,000-foot goal. So just taking the small steps to try to accomplish that and see how it works out.
That's super cool. Yeah, nice goal to have. And that it's free is awesome too.
Yeah.
There's so many paid for resources. Like when people ask me what to learn, I kind of feel bad sometimes sending along like a $100 to $300 course on how to learn this particular technology. Even if I think it's really good, it's like it's a lot of money for someone who doesn't have it.
Right. And I think that's a big part of it is that like, I learned from Ken C. Dodd's testing JavaScript course. It's a fantastic course. I tried to get my company in fact, didn't just try. I got my company to pay for a bunch of licenses. You know what I mean? I'm not against paid resources by any means, but I felt it important for me with my background of like, hey, I didn't have any money to put into this. I didn't, there was times in my life that I had to pick between the cereal and the milk. Like I didn't have a choice there. So I wanted to try to help provide a platform to let people that were passionate about this but didn't know where to go, a journey that they could learn in a fairly linear manner, and apply those skills in the real world.